Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. So this is episode 2B, okay? We're not going to call it episode 3. It's more of a continuation on episode 2, which was about self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Now in episode 2, I shared a lot about my experience and what I have dealt with in terms of both self-doubt and imposter syndrome in the past. But I feel like I have a lot more tools and, tangible experience to kind of share with you guys to really help you without tooting my own horn and without sounding one of those wankers. I got a lot of good feedback about episode 2, and I feel like it really hit home with a lot of people that also feel this way from time to time. So I feel like it would be quite remiss of me to not come back to this and let you know about some experience that I've had with this in the past, so that you can learn from it, take what you want from it, and just hopefully improve the way that you feel about yourself when you come up with those feelings of self-doubt, and also the way that you feel about imposter syndrome as well. So take from this episode what you want. It is all about whatever works for you. Obviously, these are just things that have worked for me in the past and that I really resonate with. So hopefully you guys get some golden nuggets from this as well. And as always, I would love to hear your feedback, because hearing how much everyone loved the second episode and just knowing that it really helped people feel less alone with it and less, like an idiot with it, was really, really special. So please give me all of your feedback. But, when we talk about imposter syndrome and self-doubt, the first thing that I want to kind of talk about is more along the lines of self-awareness. And, you can't fix something that you don't know about, right? So the first step to overcoming self-doubt in my mind is recognizing when it shows up. And, I want you to think about the last time that you felt self-doubt, or when self-doubt hits the hardest for you. Is it before you speak in a big meeting, or is it before you're about to post content online, or is it something that comes up when you compare yourself to others? It's really important to pay attention to the triggers of self-doubt so that we can recognize obviously when they happen, and then now that we know when they happen, we can now figure out ways to kind of combat them as well. Now, I'm not a huge journaler at all. I have given written journaling a go a lot of times, and it's just not something that I vibe with. It's a lot like reading for me. I feel like I'm just more, because I'm so on the go, I feel like sitting down and journaling and sitting down and reading is just not my vibe. I'm a much more fast-paced person, and I do reflect a lot. I reflect a lot when I drive. I reflect a lot when I walk. I'm a big reflector, and so this might work for you if you are a journaler, or if you are someone like me. It's more just, having the thought process in general helps sometimes. So one thing that has really helped is me reflecting on some key, questions or thoughts when I do start to really doubt myself for any particular reason. So I always think about when I feel the most doubtful of myself. So, is it like I just said, is it when I'm about to post something online? And for me, being speaking to what I spoke about in episode 2 about really feeling that self-doubt within the industry, it does come up a lot for me when I go to post online. So having that reflective thought about when it comes up the most for you, and also thinking, what specifically am I afraid of for this situation? If it is me posting things online, what am I most afraid of? Am I most afraid that I've gotten the information wrong? Am I most afraid that people around me are going to be like, shut the fuck up? Or am I most afraid that no one's going to like it or resonate with it and it's just a bit out of touch? Or, what specifically are you afraid of when these feelings of self-doubt come up? And also, more importantly, what story am I telling myself about why I don't belong in this situation, or why I should be doubtful of myself? Because we are often, the most critical of versions of ourselves. And it's really important to recognize, maybe from time to time, it's not actually facts that are coming up. It's more just that little creature of self-doubt within us that is telling us that we're not good enough to be in that particular situation. I feel like when you put your thoughts on paper, if you are a journaler, or if you have that moment to reflect, if you're someone that's more like me, I feel like the more that you get them out of your brain, regardless of how that is for you, the more that they lose power. And that's what we want. We want these really negative thoughts that are coming up inside of us from time to time to lose power, because they don't have power over us. At the end of the day, they are just thoughts. And like I said, a lot of the time they're not factual either. So it's really important to do what we can to help them lose their power. And the more that you reflect on them, the more easy it is to, separate them from your reality as well, which is why I like to think, when am I feeling this the most? Why am I feeling this the most? And is it just a story, or is it facts as well? Another way to increase your self-awareness of self-doubt is to also notice the way that you're physically responding in these situations. So sometimes I get like a super racing chest, or you might get like a tight chest, or, racing thoughts as well. Do you freeze? Like, your body often signals doubt before your mind fully registers it. So if you're starting to feel these anxious feelings, or this like racing thought or racing mind or racing heart, or whatever that trigger is for you, when you can catch those cues really early, it's really easy to intervene before they spiral into more feelings of awful self-doubt. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is something that I spoke to in episode 2 as well, but it's starting to reframe those negative thoughts. And, now that we know about self-doubt, it's really important to reframe those feelings and those thoughts in our minds as well. And, instead of saying that, oh, I'm not good enough, I want you to start thinking about other things that you can say. And so if you are someone that's constantly saying that you're not good enough to be in a certain situation or doing a certain thing, remind yourself, I am learning and I am growing every single day. If you're someone that always says that you don't deserve to be having this opportunity given to you, or you don't deserve to be here, for example, remind yourself that you are capable of it and that you've worked hard to be here. That's what I spoke to in episode 2 about, me reminding myself of all of the things that we have achieved and all of the reasons why I should be proud of myself and should let myself enjoy where I am. There's also another tool that I use I was trying to think of what to call it when I was thinking about how to talk about it on this podcast. So I'm just going to call it the 5-second rule, basically. Okay, so the 5-second rule is when that little creature of self-doubt creeps in, and you are in this really negative, really racing feeling. I want you to count down from 5 all the way down to 1, and take action before your brain lets you go any further into a spiral and overthink it anymore. Counting down from 5 to 1 gives you, 5 seconds to get yourself out of it and to keep actioning what you are meant to be actioning, or to keep doing what you're meant to be doing, basically. Okay, so you give yourself 5 seconds to just snap the fuck out of it and remind yourself to keep moving forward with it. The way that you're feeling and the way that you're thinking, and just interrupting it with a 5-second countdown, is a really good way to rewire your brain to focus on growth rather than, I guess, limitation. So just interrupting that thought process is really, really helpful at times as well. And it's important to also note that when we reframe our thoughts, it's not necessarily about challenging them. It's not like we're trying to say that thought is wrong, or, trying to get into like a negative challenge with these thoughts or feelings or whatever. It's if you find yourself stuck in this loop of negative self-talk all the time, just pause and ask yourself, like, is this thought helping me, or is it holding me back? And the more that you practice shifting that perspective, the more natural it becomes, and the more quicker you're able to kind of interrupt that thought process. We're always going to have these thoughts. If you care about something a lot and it really matters to you, you're always going to have these moments of like, oh, is this the right thing to do? Or, like, am I saying the right thing? Am I giving people the right info? So just interrupting that negative thought process, again, like the 5-second rule, but this time asking yourself, like, is this thought helpful, or is it actually holding me back from doing what I'm doing? And even just having that moment to reflect and think, no, it's holding me back. Let's move in a different direction and remind ourselves again why we are deserving to be doing what we're doing. It really, really helps. The next step is to always take action no matter what, okay? We should never let the feeling of self-doubt or, lacking confidence in something hold us back from doing something that we want to do. If I didn't do things over the last 5 years because I doubted myself and had that lack of confidence, I would 100% not have a gym. I would probably not even have had a PT studio. But the thing is that you want to rely on your courage over your confidence, because the confidence is such a fickle thing. It is going to come and go depending on where you're at, what you're doing, how confident you are in what you're doing. But that's why it's so important to have courage over confidence. And let's be completely real. Confidence isn't something that you're born with. It's something that you do build through action, but from time to time it's, it does lack a lot. So, when you are feeling stuck, I want you to ask yourself, what is the smallest step that I can take right now? What is the most smallest thing that I can do right now that's going to keep me moving forward in that right direction? And have the courage to take that step. You might not have the confidence to be doing what you want to be doing, but if you rely on courage instead, it's going to get you a lot further. And even just taking that small step and having the courage to take that small step is going to help you along in your journey a lot more than you think that it will. And again, just like that snap in reality and that changing the negative thoughts tool as well, this rewiring of thinking of courage over confidence is 100% going to help as well. And having that little moment to just move forward is going to just, again, repetition over time is just going to help you get better at it and a lot quicker at it as well. So for example, if you are doing like a big presentation at work or something, the biggest thing that you could do for yourself, if you are really doubting yourself, is to just start by writing a rough outline and taking that small step towards, doing what you need to do and having the courage to take that small step. If you're starting a new role at work and you're really doubting your ability, or you're lacking confidence in a new position of any sort or new job or doing anything different and you're really lacking that confidence, like just remind yourself that everybody starts somewhere. If you're new to the gym and you're lacking that confidence of getting there, remind yourself that everybody was new at one stage and you're not going to be new forever. So just to have that courage to take that small step forward and get yourself to the gym or to go for that new role or whatever it looks like is really important as well, because the key is to just show up. Just have the courage to show up. Confidence will come later maybe, but if you always just have the courage to show up even when you don't feel ready, that is so incredibly important, because the truth is that no one is ever 100% ready for anything, but the difference is that the people that just show up will progress a lot further than the people that wait for the right time or the right feeling to show up as well. And this is also like a note for myself as well, because I am a big perfectionist, but perfectionism fuels self-doubt. When you have these really high expectations of everything being perfect, you'll be waiting for all of the ducks to align, or all the stars to align, all of the ducks to get in a row. Oh my God, me and my analogies, honestly. If you're always waiting for the stars to align, or the was that a Paris Hilton song? Oh no, that was The Stars Are Blind. Anyway, welcome to my brain. If you are always waiting for the stars to align and your ducks to be in a row, and always waiting for that, being 100% ready to go kind of thing, just commit to taking one step forward. Like, you're never, ever, ever going to have anything perfectly lined up to go. So you should always just take that first step, have the courage to take that first step. And the more that you act despite the doubt that you have within yourself, the more confident that you're going to become over time as well. Another really powerful tool that I wanted to touch on as well is something that I've been doing more and more in the last, I would say maybe like 4 or 5 months, but that is I don't know what to call it. Let's just call it like keeping a wins list, or keeping a list of all of your wins, all of the positive things that happen. It's so easy for us to go through these moments of like doubt, and we're also feeling inadequate and like we haven't ever achieved anything or done anything positive. So every time you accomplish something or progress through something big or small, like it could literally be turning up to the gym on a Monday morning because you never turn up to the gym on a Monday morning, or whatever that looks like to you. Every time you complete something and or progress along the way with something, write it down in the notes section of your phone. Even just having like a really positive conversation with someone, or making a productive move, whatever it is, like write it down in the notes section of your phone, because the truth is that self-doubt thrives in the absence of evidence. What we were talking about at the start is like, is it facts or is it just a story that we're telling ourselves? Self-doubt is going to thrive in the absence of evidence. So if that's the case, then create some evidence for yourself. And the next time that you find yourself thinking that you're not good enough to do something, then go back to that evidence and say, what evidence do I have that supports this doubt? You're not showing yourself all the things that you've achieved, but you want to go back to that evidence list and show yourself that you have no evidence that you're not good enough to do this, or you have no evidence to say that you haven't ever achieved anything positive before, because that wins list is saying otherwise. So 9 times out of 10 you'll realize that your doubt is not based on facts, that it is just a story based on fear that we're telling ourselves. And what was the quote that I heard the other day? And at the end of the day, fear is not a notable narrator. We don't want to listen to fear. We don't want fear to be the one that guides us through or anything like that. Building this habit of this wins list and reminding yourself of all of the evidence that you have that does not support these negative self feelings that you have. building this habit and having this wins list is going to shift your focus from what you think you lack to what you've already proven for yourself. And the more proof that you collect of all of the things that you have achieved in the past and all the things that you have done, all of your strengths, all of your capabilities, the harder it is going to be for your self-doubt to take over. I think it's also important when talking about self-doubt, imposter syndrome, negative feelings, anything like that, it's important to know that you don't have to go through it alone. Like me sharing that little bit of my experience with it on episode 2 was proof that so many people go through it in their own way, of course, but everyone has these feelings from time to time. So I wanted to remind you that you don't need to navigate these awful feelings and these awful thoughts that we give ourselves alone at all. We all need people to remind us that, we can get through it and that we have strengths and that we have really strong capabilities, and to remind us of that when we forget about it. So, I really encourage you to find a friend, a mentor, a coach, someone that's going to hold you accountable and, encourage you even when you are struggling. It's important to be open and honest about these feelings so that you've got that person to reach out to and that they can help support you through that. And be really open and honest about it. Like I have mentioned probably multiple times on this podcast already, and we're only in episode 2.2, is that I talk about everything. I'm an oversharer. I could talk to a brick wall underwater. So it's very, very easy for me to open up and talk about the things that I'm going through and the feelings that I have. But I appreciate that that's not the same for a lot of people. So if you are someone that really struggles to talk about it, kind of put yourself in a position that you can get away from those thoughts and feelings of not talking about it, if that makes sense. So always have a friend or whoever it is, me, I don't mind who it is, but have someone that you can talk these feelings to out loud, because like we said earlier, the more you put all of these thoughts out there, the less power that they have over you, because you realize that they are just thoughts and not actual facts as well. So self-doubt is 100% going to have less power when it's not just in that big bad brain of yours. Another thing to keep in mind is to be really mindful of the people that you surround yourself with as well. And are the people that you surround yourself with lifting you up, or, are they fueling your self-doubt? Are the people that you follow online lifting you up, or are they fueling that self-doubt as well? I followed a girl on Instagram that I have followed for years and years and years. I've loved her content for so long, but I just realized about 2 months ago that I was just getting in this really negative self-talk loop about it, because I was like, she's doing this, I should be doing this, or, I had that idea and now she's doing it. And no one knew that I had this thought, it was obviously just in my head and obviously just a common topic to talk about. But, I felt like I just kept comparing myself to her and therefore getting into this really negative loop of self-doubt. And so I unfollowed her. And so, if you've got someone online that's not lifting you up and fueling that doubt, unfollow them. Really, it doesn't really matter. It's just Instagram. No one's feelings are going to get hurt, I'm sure. But seek out those around you that inspire you, that lift you up, that challenge you in all of the good ways, and that remind you of what you're capable of as well. Surround yourself with people who absolutely see the best in you, and especially on the days that you don't see it in yourself, make sure that you really have people around you to rely on to help show you that you are deserving, capable, and strong enough to get through all of these negative feelings as well. So I feel like that's a wrap on today's episode. So just a reminder, self-doubt is normal. It is a part of being human, and everyone feels it from time to time, but it's very important to not let it control you in any way. The goal is not to eliminate self-doubt, because again, it's going to always come up, but the goal is to learn how to move forward with it and, put it to the side as much as you can. So keep reminding yourself that you are here for a reason, that you do belong, that you are capable, that you are deserving. And if today's episode resonated with you, please let me know. I love hearing that it really, helps people even just have those reflective thoughts as well. I'm not necessarily going to sit here and say that I'm going to fix all of your problems of self-doubt and imposter syndrome, but even if it helps you think about it a little bit more as well, then that's my job here done. That's my job done here. Oh dear. But if today's episode resonated with you in any way, I would love you to share it online. I would love you to share it with your friends and your family that you think it would resonate with as well. And also let me know how you felt about it too, because I love hearing everybody's feedback, and it also helps me realize that I'm not the only person going through this as well, which is always a good feeling as well. But That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in to episode 2.2 or episode 2B, whatever you want to call it. We will be back very, very quickly with yet another episode, so keep your eyes peeled for that. In the meantime, I appreciate you so much. Bye-bye.